Okay, guys, when are we going to have this critical conversation about traveling to Europe while Black, especially if you're American? In that creator's video, they're talking about reading a book from somebody who traveled to every country in the world. And in her book, she says out of all 193 countries she's visited, she experienced the most racism in America. And the first thing I want to say is, duh. Like, we cannot seriously be comparing living in a country your whole life and visiting a country for days, weeks, months, and comparing that to a life you've lived in your home country. And in all these discussions, we're negating the inherent privilege we have as Americans while traveling. And yes, we're Black, so it is different, but there's still privilege in being American, having an American accent, having an American passport. Like, there are multiple instances when I was traveling in Europe and studying there where I would be followed, people would be looking at me crazy, and then as soon as I started talking in my American accent, everybody changed completely and started treating me so kindly. You might be treated well as a Black American tourist or expat in Europe or Asia, but that does not change the fact that Black immigrants from Africa are treated terribly in a lot of countries. Like a couple years ago, I visited my cousins who immigrated to Germany, and they told me that they were treated way better when I was with them speaking English in my American accent than they were ever treated by themselves, which is fucked up. So when people are going to European countries being like, oh, I never experienced racism, like, no, I'm treated so well as a Black person. You are treated well as a Black American person. It might be hard to conceptualize the fact that we have a privilege as Black people, but it's the privilege of being American.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and I hope you are all doing good. You know, when most people think about racism, they imagine it as something universal, something that follows Black people everywhere they go. But surprisingly, many Black Americans say their experience abroad is completely different. In Europe, Asia, and even parts of Africa, they are treated with more respect and curiosity, not hostility. Why is that? So guys, let's get into this video. I'll be coming back with more commentaries. Stay tuned.
I'm pretty sure this has already been talked about on here, but I just wanted to bring this up again because of this comment that a lot of the experiences that Black Americans have in Europe are not the same as the experiences that Africans or Caribbeans have in Europe. So you may not be experiencing racism as much there because of your American identity. So you're not seen the same way that other people are seen who are immigrants from the Caribbean and from Africa.
To all the Black gringos that comes to Brazil, I was wondering how racism is back home with you guys, because I'm Brazilian and I'm Black, and Brazil is racist as fuck. Oh, it isn't. Oh, Brazil is not that racist. It is, because I'm Black and I live here. I was born here, raised here, and it is racist as fuck. For you guys to come here and say that, oh, this place is amazing for Black people, and you know, I was wondering how racist your place back home must be, because I was like, if it's worse than here, man, I don't want to go there.
Brazil is an extremely racist country. What you're describing is Black Americans coming to Brazil and benefiting from being American. So when we are abroad, we benefit from having an American accent, American passport, and the American dollar. So our view of what actual racism is in a country like Brazil, while we can see it exists, it's very skewed because we will never be treated like a Black Brazilian in Brazil because of where we're staying, what we're spending money on, and they want our money. Racism is horrible in America, but I think it's a thing where you understand the social cues, the language, and the cultural things that would tell you what racism is or what a macro or microaggression is. In Brazil, when I lived there for 6 months. I was in Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Belém, and Manaus. But my time in Rio de Janeiro was the most interesting one because that was the whitest place I lived, where it had white people, mixed people, and Black people. And I stayed in a place called Leblon, which was very white, more of an upper middle class neighborhood. And I got looks every day leaving the apartment I was in. I was doing a study abroad, so I had school, but I befriended this girl and I told her, hey, like, I want to go to where you hang out. I want to go to where you and your friends go. I also didn't want to be the American to like go tour the favelas. That's not what I was doing, but I went to where they partied, and I had so much fun, and I felt so much more at home with Black Brazilians. And we had a conversation around where I was living, and they were like, yeah, we don't go there. Why would I ever go there? And it made me realize I was living in the equivalent of the Upper East Side in New York City, and I would never live in the Upper East Side in New York City. I think America and Brazil have a unique experience because two countries that have so many Black people, but they are the Black people that stayed in the country of their oppressor in a way where we're the minorities in both countries, and the majority of those countries are white. I think what you're describing is something that Brazilians experience here, because if you're Brazilian with a Brazilian accent and you're exotic in America, even though you'll still be Black, right? The same way I was still Black in Brazil, and they didn't know I wasn't Brazilian until I opened my mouth and I spoke English. Racism sucks. I mean, racism exists around the world, and we all know this as Black people. But I think Americans sometimes don't realize that we benefit from being American abroad, especially in other Black places in the Caribbean and Latin America.
I'm American.
Yeah, but so you're Afro-American.
Yeah, I mean, I'm African American, but like my people have been in America for like centuries.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But you were originally from Africa.
I mean, we're all originally from Africa.
That's debatable. So where do you trace your roots to? What country in Africa?
I don't, because I was like in America, and my grandmother and my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother. So like, I don't think we have the documentation, because like the slave trade sort of ruined that.
Where? Okay.
But yeah, we've been in America for hundreds of years, many generations. I'm American.
So do you call yourself Black Europeans or African Europeans, or do you consider yourself different like the Africans? First of all, in Italy, like there's no such thing as African or Black, because Black you can be, you don't have to be from Africa, right? So that's a whole nother conversation, right? You can be from Jamaica, right? And all that stuff. So we just consider ourselves Black Europeans, right? Like we don't really divide ourselves from countries over there, like, because over there, like there's more white people than there is in America, right? So we literally stick together and we're very united. This is why I love the Nigerian community in Italy more than any other country. And when it comes to us thinking that we're different, we're not. Black is Black. Any country you are, we need to stick together as Black people, be more united, because these white people, they've been making fun of us behind closed doors. The conversation I hear that they have about us is mad. Let's be more united, Black people, please.
So guys, let's talk about the American identity effect. You know, in the social media, when I was perusing, I saw some visuals of United States, the pop culture flag, and compared the famous Black Americans like Beyonce, LeBron, Obama, etc. And first, let's talk about the American identity, whether we like it or not. America's global image is powerful. From Hollywood to hip-hop, people around the world associate America with wealth, power, and influence. When a Black American speaks, many foreigners don't see just a Black person. They see an American. That accent, that confidence, and that cultural presence carry weight. It shifts the focus from skin color to nationality. And that's something other Black populations like Africans or Caribbeans may not experience, because their national identity doesn't hold the same global influence. We have seen experiences abroad, clips or images of Black American travelers in cities like Paris, London, Tokyo, or Rome. Yeah, and we have an example of testimonial that I've given in this video of that lady in the airplane. So many Black Americans say they feel freer outside the United States. They are not followed in stores. They are not constantly viewed as a threat. In fact, people abroad often go out of their way to talk to them, to ask about life in America, music, or culture. For example, in France, Germany, and Italy, Black Americans have shared stories of locals being fascinated by their accent, the fashion, or even the way they carry themselves. The racism they might face at home suddenly turns into admiration abroad. It does not mean racism doesn't exist overseas. but it often shows up differently because many Europeans separate black Americans from black immigrants, which affects how each group is treated. Why are other black populations facing harsher racism? You know, even in some headlines or documentaries about African and Caribbean immigrants, there is a lot of discrimination faced. Yeah, and now here's the reality that not all black people share the same experience abroad. African and Caribbean immigrants in Europe often face racism linked to immigration, poverty, or stereotypes about Africa. Meanwhile, the black Americans benefit from something called passport privilege. The United States passport opens doors, and the American image often overshadows racial bias, at least temporarily. This one doesn't mean Europeans aren't racist. It means they classify their racism. To them, a black American represents power and entertainment, while an African immigrant might represent struggle or poverty. It's unfair, but that's how global perception works. Yeah, and imagine two black men, one from Atlanta, one from Nigeria, walking into the same restaurant in Spain. The waiter might smile at the American but give side eye to the Nigerian. Same skin color, different passport, different treatment. That double standard exposes how much power the American image holds and how much perception shapes people's reactions more than skin tone itself. One traveler said that in the United States, I'm a black man first and an American second, but overseas, American first. That right there sums up the difference. So many also say they feel safer, more respected, and less tense overseas. The weight of American racism lifts, and they finally experience what it is like to just exist without stereotypes following them around. So what does this mean for the diaspora? This topic is not about dividing the black world. It's about understanding it. It shows how nationality, culture, and even accent can change how people view you. It also proves that racism is not just about color. It's about context. The black experience is global. Yeah, but not identical. And for black Americans, being American is a double-edged sword, painful at home but powerful abroad. So what do you think, guys? Does being American really protect black Americans from racism overseas, or is it just a surface level privilege? Drop your thoughts below, guys, and if you've traveled abroad as a black person, share your experience. We'd love to feature your stories in our next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real conversations about race, culture, and the global black experience. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of the video. This video is meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. Peace be with you until next time, guys.